welcome back to Questioning Sense with me, Matt. I hope you guys are well. All is well here. Yeah, it's fine. It's Monday. Nice day. Done the school run. Place to myself. Time for a video. Okay, it's going to be a list and a really, really big list as well, actually. This is going to be my list of fragrances that you should have a look at for autumn or fall, depending on what side of the pond you live. Now, I'd like to say autumn's my favourite season of the year, and I do love autumn, but I think I'm missing the summer a little. But at the moment, we're kind of in that phase where summer's just kind of hanging on a little bit, so we're still getting some quite sunny, warm days, and then some colder evenings. It's a bit wet now and again. So this is a really, really interesting time of year. It's also probably the most versatile time of year for perfumery, because you can pretty much get away with anything at this stage of autumn. Obviously, when it gets colder, you're going to start to look into more sort of wintry fragrances. So last night when I was trying to curate a list, I realised there's about 50 perfumes that could easily be in this list. So I've tried to whittle it down. So I've managed to get it down to 15 with one honourable mention. So I may have to do a second autumn fall fragrance list at some point. So because there are so many, I'm going to go through them really, really quickly. It's almost going to be a case of look at this one, give it a go, just because otherwise the video will go on forever and you will be bored stiff. So what we'll do, I've got one honourable mention and then 15 fragrances. I think Rich can do the maths for me at the end of it, because I'm notoriously bad at keeping track of things. So what we'll do is we'll get started. As I say, it's going to be a classic Questioning Sense whistle stop tour of some amazing fragrances that I think you guys should have a look at. As always, what we've tried to do is kind of mix it up a bit, so we haven't got all designer and all niche and all indie or all silly expensive and all cheap. So there's a bit of a mixture of everything. So hopefully there's at least one or two in here that you may not know, or you may think, oh, I've been on the edge about this one, I'll go and try it. So I hope you enjoy the list. Probably best to watch with a very strong coffee, because it will be quite a long video, so apologies for that in advance. Should we get on with it? Yeah, come on in. Right, here we go. So the honourable mention for this one is Zaharoff Signature Noir. I had to include this purely because I love the bottle. I'm only joking. This is a great riff on the original Signature. This is a slightly darker one. There's some citruses in here. There's some spices in here. There's a little oud in the base. There's some sandalwood. This is beautiful stuff. Very refined, very gentlemanly smelling perfume, which I think is awesome. It's one that I think is more for a sort of a professional setting. You could wear it down the pub. You could, wear it to work or anything like that. It's a lovely, lovely perfume. For me personally, I wish it had a bit more oomph to it, but it's okay. I mean, I'll get sort of 5, 6, 7 hours. 7 hours tops out of this one, noticeable, but it is quite hard to find after like the 3rd or the 4th hour. I think it's such a gorgeous fragrance though, so I do really, really enjoy it. I just find this one a little bit lacking in oomph, but very, very wearable and perfect for this time of year. This would be, in fact, this would be a really, really good one to, if you're sort of going to work and you're coming home, you're going out for the evening with your wife or your partner, or, just going out to meet some friends. This is really, really good for that kind of thing. If you want to feel smart, you've been worn a suit all day, you've come home, you had your shower, you put some nice clothes on to go out. This is a perfect evening fragrance for that sort of thing. So I do really recommend this one purely because it smells so, so lovely. So that's the honourable mention, and that's Zaharoff Signature Noir. Okay, next up, we're going to have a look at one from Ormond, which is called Amber Royale. And this is one I've talked about a fair bit because it's perfect for this time of year. This is indeed an amber fragrance, there's no doubt about it. But because you've got some light florals with this, it's one that you can wear all year round, but it's really, really good in the autumn, especially as I mentioned earlier, when you're in that stage where it's quite warm, but it's still kind of autumny. So, there's a little chill in the air, but it's actually not a cold day or anything like that. And if suddenly the weather does turn warm, which it often does, especially in the afternoons, this is perfect because the florals take the edge off the heaviness of the amber. So it's not like a freezing dark, deep, amber that you would wear on a freezing day. So it's not really overly deep or heavy fragrance, because the florals keep it quite lively. It smells beautiful. It's by Guy Zechern, so it's full of modern chemicals and things like that. But oh boy, this is beautiful. And this is one that always seems to get compliments too. It just floats around you really rather well. They do an elixir, which I believe is the stronger version of this. Now, to me, this has got perfect performance. I don't think it personally, I don't think it needs to be any stronger or any longer lasting. because it's a good long-lasting perfume for me. It's very airy, very noticeable, completely unisex, and rather bloody beautiful. So if you're looking to try one from Ormond, this is one of the more reasonably priced offerings from the house. I think you can get these 50ml bottles for around the £100 mark, maybe a little bit less when they're, you know, in the sale or anything like that. So this is one I really highly recommend that you sample. Beautiful stuff. Right, we're getting through it. Next up, we have a real fun designer, and this is him from Zadig and Voltaire. This is absolutely great fun. I love it. This peppery, creamy sandalwood. A little bit of incense in there, but it's quite sweet and it's quite playful. Made by Natalie Lawson, a perfumer I absolutely adore. And this you can get from discounters really reasonably priced. I think you can get this for like around the £50 mark, or probably less actually if you're, you know, really looking for it. So, you know, really interesting presentation. Great fun. Because it's creamy, because there's a little tiny bit of incense, and because of that pepperiness, the woody nature of it, it's perfect for autumn. So a really good one if you're going out for a party or you're just out for a nice walk or something like that. I really highly recommend this one. It's a really good fun fragrance. Doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's certainly one the younger thrusters will adore, as well as us grizzly old perfume enthusiasts. Yeah, really good. Okay, next up we have, sadly discontinued, but rather bloody lovely, Gucci Guilty Absolute. I absolutely adore this one. Look how much of that I've got through. This is perfect. It's a dark, leathery, patchouli-based fragrance. There's almost a little hint of medicinalness going on here. A little bit, what the Americans call, a little bit band-aidy, or a plaster, as we like to call it. Totally get that. There's almost a smokiness in the background. This is a very masculine, rugged leather jacket of a perfume that I absolutely adore. As soon as I tried it, I mentioned it to Rich. I think Rich is on his second or third bottle of it. So he gets through it too, and it's just, oh, it's beautiful. Very unique, very brave designer for perfume, this one. You can still get it from discounters, so, you know, grab it before it's gone, because it's an absolute knockout. Not for everyone, but if you don't like this, unlucky, basically. Okay, next up, we have the classic Heritage from Guerlain EDP. What a beautiful masculine fragrance this is. This has got some bright citruses, it's got some dark patchouli, it's got almost like a leathery note to it. It's a bit of a barbershop. It's absolutely glorious. It's one I wear to work an awful lot, as you can see by the kicking that this bottle has had. This is the latest incarnation of it. This is not a vintage bottle or anything like that, as you can see by the wooden cap. I find the performance excellent. It smells divine. Obviously, it has got, you know, there are similarities to a very expensive offering from Roger Dove to Heritage. I think this is phenomenal, and it's one that I think every masculine chap who loves a fragrance that has class and has presence should own. Now, there is some debate as to whether people prefer the EDP or the EDT. I think they're both phenomenal. I have the EDP, I don't have the EDT, so that tells you everything you need to know on where I stand on the EDT versus EDP war of Guerlain Heritage. But seriously, guys, this is an awesome fragrance. If you've not tried it, please do, because I think it's just, I don't know, it's kind of like the perfect gentleman's fragrance. It's mature, I'll give you that. It might not be for the younger thrusters, but if you want a perfume with some gravitas, if you want a perfume that absolutely smells phenomenal, that makes you a reek of class, then that's one for you. Highly recommended. Okay, next up, I couldn't do an autumnal list without featuring Nasamato's Pardon, one of my favourite fragrances of all time. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it because I talk about it incessantly, but this to me is kind of like autumn in a bottle. It's just beautiful. There's a wonderful patchouli note in here. There's a slight chocolatey vibe to it. There's a slight orangey vibe to it. There's a little bit of oud in here. Incredibly sexy fragrance, perfect date night fragrance. Not one that I would particularly wear for work, although I have worn it for work, but if I worked in an office, I'd probably steer clear of Pardon. But this is all about pleasure. This is all about enjoying yourself. This is a fragrance that you wear when you want to feel amazing. And it just, I don't know, it works so well in cooler weather. An autumnal evening with someone you care about wearing Pardon doesn't get much better than that. So this is definitely in the list. Okay, getting through them. Next up, a classic from Caron. And this is Yet Again. What a beast. I think 1978 this came out. And it's still amazing now. I absolutely adore this. And as you can see, I've given this one a fair old kicking too. Now this, I always thought this kind of reminds me of like a brown version of Polo Green, and I get that because it's spicy, it's herbal, there's patchouli in here, there's woods in here, there's moss in here, and it's, you know, it is of its time. It is slightly dated, but I think it's still very, very contemporary in its, you know, just to wear it today. It's unique as well because not a lot of people wear it. You know, it's kind of passed everybody by and they're not interested in Yet Again anymore. Well, I am, because it's a stunner. Another one that you can have for a really, really good price too. So this is Yet Again by Caron. I don't think I could go through an autumn without wearing it a couple of times because it is that good. Okay, so next up, we have a new one on me, which came out this year, and I think this is one of the most textured perfumes I've ever tried. And this is called Cashmere Velvet from a new company called Austin's, who are based in London. I've actually been in to meet the two directors of Austin's, which are Christopher and Laurent. And what a pair of passionate perfume people we have there. This is something else. The whole collection, I mean, I did an introductory video on the entire collection, so please go and have a look at that. And I think there is a single review of Cashmere Velvet on there too. But this is delightful. This is a warm cuddle of a perfume. It's sweet, it's sophisticated, but it's so cozy. It's really, really comforting, and there's a real textured feel to it. It is like being wrapped in cashmere. It's gorgeous. It also, if you buy the bottle, it comes with a preparation oil as well. So you kind of rub the oil on first and then spray the perfume on top. You don't have to do that. You can also just wear the oil on its own, or you can wear the perfume on its own. But you can also use the oil for layering with other perfumes if you want to give a slightly different twist to them. But this is fantastic. I just love it. Performance is excellent. It's long lasting. It's polite. It sits close to your skin, but it just, you're aware of it all the time you're wearing it. So I really absolutely cannot recommend this enough. And I think these 50ml bottles are around the £85 mark. So an excellent value niche perfume there. Highly recommended. In fact, I absolutely adore this one. This is absolutely beautiful. So there you have it. Cashmere Velvet from Austin's. Next up, another one I've spoken about a fair bit, and this is Leather Oud from Floris. What a beautiful, classy perfume this is. Obviously, there's oud in it, and there's leather, there's some amber, there's a little bit of like an oily bergamot in the opening to give it a little bit of lift. A polite oud, but it does smell of oud, and the leather is just beautiful. It's supple, it's raw, it's textured, it's fantastic. It does have slight... there's a couple of Montales, there's a couple of Manceras that smell a little bit like this, and I own two that smell an awful lot like it. The problem I've got is now I've got this Floris, I never ever wear the Manceras because I absolutely think this one does something similar, but it just does it so well. Now it has got some kind of florals in here, but it's not an oud rose. It does smell a little like an oud rose at times, but it's not. This is a very, very classy fragrance. It's incredibly long lasting. It's got some projection too, and it does kick out a little, so you know you have a fairly strong sillage with it. So it's one that you'd have to go light on the trigger if you're wearing it to the office. But if you're out for fun, wear this. You know, it's beautiful. It does kind of feel like a formal fragrance. You know, you do feel that you should be wearing a suit when you're wearing it, but I've worn it in jeans and, you know, my kind of normal clobber, and it felt fantastic. So, you know, don't be put off by the sort of the stuffy reviews of it, because I think you can wear it I mean, you can wear anything anywhere really, can't you? It's all up to you and how you feel about it. But this is one that I really, really recommend. I think it's beautiful. It's an expensive fragrance. I think it retails for about £160 a bottle for 100ml, but you can pick it up from discounters like I did for a lot less than that. So keep your eyes peeled, and if you like leather and you like oud, this is going to be it. And just a quick word on the oud. It is a Western take on oud, but it does smell like real oud. It's no... You know, it's not barnyardy, it's not fecal or anything like that. It's incredibly wearable, but it does actually have a bit of an oudy presence. So highly recommended. Okay, so from an expensive one, we're now going to go to a cheapie, and this is Mustache from Royale. The EDP, not the EDT. This is the EDP. Obviously, it smells an awful lot like a very expensive perfume in Tuxedo. In fact, so much so, if you have one, you do not need the other. I find this a little bit more wearable than Tuxedo, and that's no disrespect to Tuxedo. It's a fantastic fragrance. But I think the black pepper in the top on this one is a bit more toned down. So you have this sweet, spicy, creamy fragrance. There's a bit of rose in here. There's some patchouli in here. Beautiful stuff and an absolute bargain. Performance is okay, it's not a beast mode by any means, but it's relatively long lasting. It will get you through a working day and it will garner some interest from people around you because it smells rather lovely and sophisticated. Again, it's just perfect for this time of year. It's not too heavy, so if it's warmer, you're okay, and if it's colder, it kind of really shines. So one of the best bargains out there at the moment, I think. Highly recommended and well worth exploring. If you've not tried this one yet, you really should. So that is a Mustache from Royale. Okay, next up, a screamy one, a banger. Patchouli leaves from Montal. When I say a screechy one, it's actually by Montal standards, it's not that screechy, but we have a real patchouli bomb. Very affordable. These little bottles are incredibly cheap to get. You can get these for like under £30 now from discounters, and it's a patchouli lover's dream. I think this is a gorgeous fragrance. It's one of the best ones from the house, and I mean that because I think I was talking to a friend of mine, Dragan, about Montal, and the more recent ones, they seem to put so many different notes and accords, and you know, I don't know, the material listings get longer and longer and longer, and I think sometimes there's too much to some of the Montal fragrances. Whereas this is one of the older releases, and it's really quite a simple fragrance. This is sort of an ambery patch. But the patch explores lots of different facets of it. You have a little bit of chocolate in here. You have the earthiness. It changes a little bit, but it always smells very much of patchouli. It's just beautiful. I really think they've done such a good job of this one, and I'm really pleased to have it in my collection. Again, perfect for this time of year. I think patchouli itself lends itself very well to autumn. And this is a really good one, especially for the money. It's yeah, it's a budget banger. So there you have it, patchouli leaves from Montal. Right, deep breath. Next up, a classic. This is the fragrance that I think is probably the best from the house, and that's saying a lot because you have Trumpers Sandalwood, and that is, you know, a fantastic fragrance. But Eucharist EDP is absolutely gorgeous. It's perfect for autumn, and it's also perfect for winter. It's a bit dark and it's a bit brooding for sort of summer days, but it's absolutely stunning. You have blackcurrant, you have cumin, you have lots of spices, you have woods, you have lots of oak moss or whatever they're using instead of oak moss these days to make a very long lasting, very classy gentleman's fragrance. This is one that you wear when you're going out posh. It's beautiful. I just think this fragrance is amazing. I can't stop smelling it, actually. In fact, I'll tell you what we'll do. I know. Oh my, this is a beautiful fragrance. I highly recommend it. I think you can get these bottles for around £70 from Trumpers. You may be able to pick them up cheaper from other discounters and things like that. But seriously, if you've not tried it, try it. There is a James Bond connection to it as well. I think Ian Fleming mentions it in the book, in one of the books or another one of the books. I don't think he says that it's actually Bond that's wearing it, but I think it's certainly referenced in either one or two of the original Bond books. So there's, you know, it's a very historical, classy, traditional gentleman's fragrance. Definitely masculine and definitely one for the more mature fragrance enthusiast, but gosh, it's a beauty. So this one is also very highly recommended. Perfect for this time of year. In fact, it's perfect for winter as well. It works well the colder it gets and the darker and the more mysterious the evening that you're wearing it, the more this one blends in. Gorgeous stuff indeed. Okay, the final four. A list from me, it wouldn't be a list without an Auto Paresi, and Brutus is my choice for autumn from the collection. Although maybe the new one when I finally get it. Kawarin will probably be in this list as well. But Brutus is awesome. It's another really, you know, what I was saying earlier about patchouli in this time of year. This is a real patch bomb. There's some citruses, there's lots of patchouli, there's a little bit of woods, and there's lots of musk. It's beautiful. It's quite sweet. It's quite playful. It's a really good casual fragrance for this time of year. You can wear it to work. You can wear it out. You can wear it for fun. Totally unisex. One that would appeal to the younger thruster and the more mature fragrance enthusiast. This is divine. I love it. It's performance-wise, it's not like Megamara or Bergamusk or Taroni. It's not one of those ones. It's quite light and easy to wear, but be aware, it does seem to kick out. So people are picking up on it more than you think they are. So you do have to go slow. I mean, it's really tempting to douse yourself in the stuff because it smells that good. But be aware that it projects a lot more than you think it does. And it does have a heck of a sillage too. So this is a beautiful fragrance and one that is just almost tailor-made for autumn. And that's Orto Parisi Brutus. Excellent stuff indeed. Okay, now we're down to the last three, and what a three they are. Okay, first up from the last three, we have Amouage Brackenman. Now this is lovely. I was surprised at how well it wore in warmer weather, actually. But now it's starting to get a bit cooler, especially in the evenings. This is divine. It's a real gentlemanly fragrance. It is kind of almost like a classic barbershop in some respects. But you have a lot of, you've got to like cloves for this one. So you have a lot of cloves in it. You have a lot of nutmeg, you have spices, you have lavender, you have some citruses, you have a little patchouli, you have some sandalwood. It's a gentleman's fragrance. If you actually, if you have Orto Parisi's Veridi, you will find them quite similar. I think Veridi's more fun and this is more formal, would be the best way of differentiating them. Veridi uses a lot more mint than this one. There's not really any mint in this one, but they both have that very clove-driven opening. So if you have Veridi, you may not need this. But this is a more refined, kind of a smoother, more gentlemanly, sophisticated version. Perfect for this time of year because that sort of herbal nature of it seems to fit in so well with the changing climate of autumn. So Brackenman is highly recommended. It's an expensive fragrance, obviously, but you can pick it up from discounters. Notino particularly are a good place to search. They will occasionally put this down to around the 100 or just over the £100 mark. So there you go. Beautiful bottle. I love Amouage, and this is my second favourite from the house, Beach Up Man being my favourite. But if you haven't tried Brackenman, please do. And if you don't have the Veridi, then this is a really, really good one to get. Okay, the last two. And we're going to be looking at Santal Austère from Maya Olfactive. This is gorgeous. There is a full review of it in the down below from a sample, but I have a full bottle now thanks to the guys at luxperfume.com in the UK, or luxperfume.co.uk in the UK. If you're looking for any of the Maya Olfactive collection, have a look at these guys. They have them all. This is by far the most natural smelling sandalwood that I own, and it's one of the nicest sandalwoods I've ever smelled. This is sandalwood, this is a little bit of oud, there's a little bit of castoreum, there's some styrax in here, there's some opoponax in here, but they're all basically just put in there to make this sandalwood smell so realistic. It really amplifies it. Performance is excellent. This is a really, really long-lasting perfume with some... when it first came out, there was a higher oil concentration, so it sat much closer to the skin. Sean has tweaked it and re-released it. And now it's a lot more airy, but this is beautiful. It's another one because it's sandalwood. And basically that's what it is. It's a really realistic sandalwood. You can wear it in warmer days, you can wear it in colder days. Sandalwood I find really calming and cooling on a hot day, but in a winter's day or a cold autumnal day, it is absolutely divine. I cannot recommend this highly enough. If you've not tried anything from Maya Olfactive, you really should, because these perfumes are stunning, and this is possibly, well, yeah, this is my favourite from the house. It's beautiful, highly, highly recommended. Okay, and now we are, Maya Olfactive Santal Austère, fabulous stuff. Okay, and now the number one, my favourite perfume for this time of year, and this one is my number one, and that's from Chanel, and that's Le Lion. I adore this perfume. When I first tried it in store, I knew I had to have it, and I'd only tried it on card as well, and I thought, this is amazing. Now, it does remind me of Coromandel in the dry down. It does remind me of Shalimar, the EDP. But this, the more you wear it, the more you fall in love with it. There's this lemony, bergamotti style opening. Then it becomes quite ambery, and there's leather, and then it becomes like a really soft leather with some vanilla under it. There's an incense in here. And interestingly, the cooler the weather I've worn it in, the more I pick up on the incense. When I first got it, it was there, almost like a hint of a smoky wood in the background. But as I've worn it on colder evenings, the incense kind of vibe starts to really come through, but it comes through. It's not sharp, it's not grating, and it doesn't overly dominate because it's surrounded by this creaminess, this beautiful dry down. It really is something special. I think this is straying into masterpiece territory, and this is slowly becoming Well, it's certainly in my top 5 perfumes of all time already, and I've had it for less than a year. You can see how much I've worn of it. This is truly, truly worth exploring. If you are near a store that carries the Les exclusives, please try Le Lion. We'll try them all because they're all really, really good. I don't think the Les exclusives, I don't think they get the recognition they deserve. I think a lot of people, when they look at Chanel, they look at Bleu de Chanel and some of the other sort of more designer ones and forget about this kind of higher range. And I think they should all be explored because they got some fantastic fragrances there. And this, to me, is the pinnacle of them. I know it's quite controversial because a lot of people think this is okay. I think it's more than okay. I think it is something wonderful. It's perfect for this time of year. It's just, I don't know, it's glorious. You can wear it anywhere. It's really good casually. It's really good formally. And the performance is absolutely superb. This will last you until you wash it off effectively. And it's not, it doesn't scream. It has some projection and it has some sillage, but it's a really well-behaved fragrance. You can just wear this constantly. I don't know. I've really fallen head over heels for this one, as you can probably gather. So I can't say enough good things about Le Lion. So there you go. Well worth exploring. Not a blind buy. Don't blind buy any of these unless they're, maybe Mustache or... yeah, just maybe Mustache. It's probably the only blind buy you can make here safely. But they're all worth exploring. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you liked some of these, and I hope you're interested in finding out a bit more about some of them. So there you have it. As I said at the beginning, a very, very difficult video to make because there are so many fragrances that are suitable for autumn or fall. So hopefully, or maybe, there'll be another one coming up soon. But we've got so much to get on with. I thought I'd try and get this video out before it's winter and we can actually enjoy some of this really spectacular season. So listen guys, as always, thank you very much for your time. It's always a pleasure making these videos and we're really glad that you've given us some of your time to watch them. So we shall see you soon on the next video. Cheers, thanks, and